Our message affirmation this morning is God is enough. It's very simple, straightforward. Do you know why it is in Scotland, the Scottish people, they'll bury a corpse on the side of the hill? Because he's dead. It's just that simple. And sometimes we get so convoluted in some of the things of life, especially when it comes to faith, that we forget it's just so very, very simple. Pastor Mike led the fellowship before me from the 70s all the way until his passing in December of 2011. So he was the head of the church for 40-some years. And when Pastor Mike did this, that we've all heard that expression, KISS. Keep it simple. And I think people use another word, but of course, we're New Thought students, so it just made perfect sense. Keep it simple, students. So all of us will KISS, because a lot of times, like I was saying, we get so caught up in so many complicated processes. And the reality is, by thinking positive, good thoughts, exhibiting positive, good behavior, we attract the good. And of course, if you're like most people in life, you want good. We want lives of great health and great happiness and great prosperity. And as New Thought students, we know that that's what God intended for us. We're created in the image of God. God is perfect, therefore we are perfect. And this is a tenet that runs through all of New Thought. And it's very important to keep it simple, because we know also, if any of you have done any research on New Thought, you know, there's a myriad of books and writings and teachings and complex classes and things you can go through, and certainly there's nothing wrong with those, because it's great to examine things, because of course the unexamined life is supposedly not worth living. But when it comes to the basics of the New Thought, it's good to remember to keep it simple. Keep it simple, because it's those basic laws of attraction that have everything going. I have a friend who is a close friend of mine, and he can be kind of a negative person. And one day, we had this talk, because that was his contention, that, this is just too simple. That doesn't make sense. You mean, all I have to do is, think positive thoughts and be a positive person, and that's going to make my life better. That's too simple. That doesn't even make any sense. And you know what? Yes, it is that simple. And we had this detailed talk, and this is a person who, is like a dog with a bone, never lets anything go. I actually made some headway, and at the end he kind of shook his head and said, okay, I don't know that I convinced him, but enough to stop the argument, so that was good. But the reality is that just by keeping it simple, we have access to all these wonderful things and this wonderful, wonderful lives that we're meant to live, just by keeping it simple and by living these lives of great example. Simply thinking good, positive thoughts. When you're going into a situation, if you're meeting with family or friends or relatives that you sometimes have challenges with, go in with that positive thought. Don't let any negativity come in the door with you. When you're facing a financial challenge, think positive. Know that, God is going to be there for you. The resources are going to be there. They may not be there that first minute you need it, and you may not understand some of the challenges along the way, but just keep it simple. Say, I know that I am provided for every day in every way. God is providing for me because I am thinking positive and I'm living this life of a positive New Thought student. Also, a lot of times when we go to the doctor, we start off with thinking, oh, I have this and I have this and I have this. And then we walk in with all that negativity. Whereas when we go, to get the results from our exam or see the doctor, start with that base thought. I am a child of God. I do not inherit illness. Therefore, I am perfect. I am free of any dis-ease, because that's not what God intended for me. And these are very, very simple tenets, but the results are incredible. They're amazing. Years ago, when I was in high school, there were a couple of children I would tutor in the reading. Back in those days, we learned to read phonetically. The process of that is you're teaching the children what each letter's sound makes, and then you try to get them to put all the letters together. And I remember one day, this was a youth, a very young child, so it was very elementary reading. So we were going through cat. So he'd gotten to the point where, he had memorized the sounds that each letter makes, and so we were going through the s, or the k-at. And so, he was repeating it very fast, and I was getting very excited we were going to be there. And they turned and looked at me beaming and said, "Is it ball?" Because, I think at that young age, when you think of the power of reading that it's going to give you, it seems so much more complicated than it is. And really, you're just putting these things together, and it's cat, because that's the sounds you're making. So that's just an example. So when we grow up in life and we get to things like the new thought and the study of new thought, and actually I believe this happens in a lot of faiths, we come to a point where we think it's so complex and complicated, and, it's years and years of study, and we need to take off our shoes and socks and climb the highest mountain and eat nuts and twigs and berries along the way to, get to that point where we're able to understand or grasp this. But as in New Thought, we want to keep it simple, student. Keep it simple, student, because it is simple. It's a very simple concept that we attract what we give. Just like, two magnets together, they're coming together, they're the same thing. So, if we are giving out positive thoughts, we're positive and kind to all those around us, and, we avoid negativity, and we avoid saying negative things, and we avoid the negative comedic things, making fun of other people at somebody's expense to make us look good and funny. All those negative things, we eliminate those from our lives. We are opening that channel for nothing but good to come back to us if we just remember to keep it simple. So our question this week, as you go about your chores and your work this week, ask yourself, do I understand the simplicity of the laws of attraction? And as you're going through things, if you find that, maybe I'm overcomplicating things, I'm overthinking this, the reality is this is so simple. If I understand what it is I want to attract, that's what I want to be. That's what I need to put out in all circumstances, in all situations. The other thing is simply ask yourself, do I keep it simple? Do I keep it simple? Am I keeping it simple? Or am I complicating things so much that I'm making this be such an unwieldy big thing that I'm never going to be able to grasp it and grapple it and get a hold of it? Because in reality, it's such a simple concept. So do I understand the simplicity of the laws of attraction? So when you go through your things this week, when you start your work week or your chores around the house or whatever it is that you're doing, remind yourself, you know what, I just need to keep this simple. I need to simply be positive in all things, in all my actions, in all my deeds, in all my words. And that's exactly what I'm going to attract, is good. Putting out good attracts good. These are very basic, simple laws of attraction, and it's great for everyone to follow. So remember that as you're going through the week, God is enough. He's right there. It's very simple. God is enough. These are the laws of attractions that are created in the world by God. If God is enough for this, that's all I need to know. God is enough. I'm going to keep it simple, and I am going to attract all the things in life that I need. I'm going to attract everything so that I have this life of great health and great happiness and great prosperity. All my needs are going to be met. All of my challenges are going to be reduced to nothing, and I'm going to be a very happy person. So as you go through the week, God is enough in all circumstances, in all situations. And the good news is that very simply by trusting in God, believing and adhering to these universal laws of attraction, we can all lead lives of great happiness, health, and prosperity. Keep it simple, students, and the flow of good will come to you.